The time is 5:40 p.m. I'd like to be mindful of everyone's time. I apologize for the delay. We were waiting for another council member to join virtually. So I'd like to officially call our policy work session to order. Mr. Truesdale, could you please call the roll?
Ms. Daniels, Ms. Davis,
Present.
Ms. Green,
Present.
Mr. Jones,
Here.
Ms. Rolls, Mr. Rodriguez,
Present.
Ms. Hill.
Present. Thank you. The discussion topic for today's policy work session is around spending priorities that were outlined in Bill 5 of 2023. I'd like this to be an interactive discussion, so we will begin with the presentation that was shared, and we would like to open the floor for questions throughout the presentation, if that works for you. Okay, thank you. We were having some technical difficulties last night, so I'd ask that anyone that is speaking, if you could please make sure that the microphone is on, one, and two, make sure that it is very close to your mouth. That way, people that are either viewing on Channel 20 or viewing on YouTube are able to hear the discussion this evening. Okay, so I will turn the floor over to Mr. Solkowski to begin the presentation.
President Hill, thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity to be here. First thing is first, I want to introduce my assistant, Mr. Anthony Magna. He's just started a couple months ago.
Can you move it closer to you?
He's done a tremendous job.
Thanks.
And welcome him on board. So he helped me put this presentation together. He actually did most of the work, actually. So So this is related to the American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA money. It says, what is ARPA? The American Rescue Plan Act of 2021 was enacted in March 2021 to provide recovery funds to assist state, local, and tribal governments to respond to the economic effects of COVID-19 pandemic. The city of Harrisburg was awarded $47,073,625. The entire amount has been appropriated as of 2024 through multiple resolutions, with the latest being Resolution 53 of 2024. Per Bill 7, 2022, Bill 5 of 2023, Resolution 17 of 2024, and Resolution 24 of 2024, and as I said, Resolution 53 of 2024, the city approved the use of ARPA funds towards police and fire bonuses, public safety, HVAC emergency replacement, and revenue replacement. Bill 7 of 2022 was the first appropriated $15,623,000 between three activities. One was revenue replacement of $8,863,000. Second was the public safety building HVAC of $5,500,000. And finally, the third one was police and fire bonuses of $1,260,000, totaling $15,623,000. Of that total, we've actually spent $15,214,692.
Mr. Solkowski, if I may.
Sure.
So when you, I see with the bill appropriated in one column, and then it says actuals. Can you explain what actuals mean?
Actual is the actual amount that's spent.
Okay.
So we didn't spend about $400, I think, on bonuses, because when they figured out a bonus, it was maybe not an exact number to do that, so we were like $400 short when we figured out the bonuses.
All right, so go ahead, because I'll wait till you get to the slide where we can see the numbers. Thank you.
Mr. Solkowski, what was the first $8 million for again? I'm sorry.
Revenue replacement.
$8 million,
Revenue.
that was for revenue replacement.
$5 million for the HVAC and then the police raises. Okay.
Exactly.
Thank you.
So Bill 5 of 2023 appropriated $31,550,000 between 15 activities. On the next page, it actually gives you those activities. I don't think you want me to sit there and read every single number, but if you got any questions on anything.
I would like you to read every single number in the event that people that are either watching or listening
Okay.
can't see the.
I wasn't going do that, but if you want that, that's fine. And for initial administrative cost, under Bill 5, first column is Bill 5 of 2023, then the second column is the actual amount and any revision in those numbers from succeeding resolutions. So under initial administration, Bill 5 appropriated $200,000, and we actually spent $200,000. Administration later was changed, it was $1.2 million, but that was revised in Resolution 17 of 2024, I believe to 600.
1,200,060.
Yeah,
Where's
under
that?
Resolution 17, it was lowered to 600,000, or 800,000 total.
For administration?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, affordable housing was, under Bill 5 was 8 million. And the actual available for that is 8 million minus the 250 that went to the Governor Square, which we hope to get back. So I'll talk more about the affordable housing shortly. Tree removal, 500,000 was appropriated under Bill 5. Home repairs, 5 million was appropriated, and that remains unchanged. Trash bill initially was under Bill 5 was 1 million. It was revised under Resolution 17 of 2024 to 2 million. To replace the South Harrisburg pole was 8 million, and that was revised in Resolution 24 of 2024. I think it's from 6 million for the pole, 2 million for engineering and environmental studies. So it just broke it down. Same dollar amount, but just different parts. The ADA accessible playground was initially 1,500,000. It was revised in Resolution 17 of 2024. The upgraded fire radio system was 900,000, and the actual spent was 990,000. Demolition of blighted property was $1.5 million, and workforce development was initially $1 million, and was revised in Resolution 17 of 2024. Senior programming was 250,000, and it's still that much today. Bridge housing was 1 million, and 1 million has been spent or encumbered. Community Matters grants was 1 million, and same with the Community Connection Hub. Those were both revised in Resolution 17 of 2024. So the original appropriation was 31,550,000, and the actuals were $17,440. So any questions on that page?
How come those numbers, when they're revised, weren't reflected on here? No room?
Well, there's some that hasn't been completely spent yet, such as the affordable housing. We're actually undergoing a review process as we speak. We got 26 applications in for affordable housing.
Yeah, but if there was money spent, I mean, you're showing all of the other spending, and if there was money added to those categories, it would be nice to see those actual numbers to reflect on this.
Some of those numbers are on.
Can you speak into the microphone, please? Thank you.
Some of those numbers are going to be on the next couple of slides. All the ones that were revised, you're going to see in the next two slides for Resolution 17 and Resolution 24 of 2024. Those will have the actual numbers that were revised in there. And then everything else that was actually spent that aligned with Bill 5 is on that current slide.
So for clarification, the 17,440,000 was spent? Is that the total was spent out of 31 million?
I don't think that's entirely accurate because some of these things actually were taken away. They no longer exist. So can't really compare the 17 million with 31 million because, for example, the last two items, the Community Matters grant, the Community Connections, the authorizations for those actually went away. So that money was never spent and shouldn't be on the 17 million. It was in the original Act 5, but it was revised in Resolution 17 and went away. The authorization for that went away, and it's not in the current budget. So we don't have the authorization to spend that.
So when you say that, it went away. Where'd it go?
The resolution took it away.
Okay, so let me ask this. Are you saying that you don't have authority to spend it outside of these categories that this money was originally appropriated to, correct?
That is not correct.
That's a question.
No, so this goes to fundamentals of budgeting, right? In 2023, you made a list of priorities and provided them to the administration. And at the end of 2023 into the 2024 budget, all of that rolled forward. And every beginning of every year, you do a roll forward. Then the budget for these programs came forward in the resolution in 2024 and didn't include all the programs. All of it had moved to revenue replacement. So it went from U.S. Treasury money to general fund, and then it was pushed over to the state grant fund, right? Right? No, so the money's there, right? It's not that it's gone, it's there. But then there was no appropriation of that money in 2024, and therefore there was nothing to roll forward into 2025. So it wasn't part of the 2025 budget. So those programs are unfunded at the moment. Not that that money was spent.
I wasn't talking about the money. I was just talking about the programs where.
The programs were never created and never put in place because there was the council made a proposal to have them. The mayor did not bring that forward as the executive branch. And so those sit there, and then when they weren't rolled forward, they were not, the money stayed now as general fund money in the state grants program.
Okay.
Doesn't mean there's not an ability for the mayor and the council to work out whether they want those programs. So it's not that it was recommitted. You always have a fund balance, what we always have. But technically, they're general fund money sitting there in the state grant program with no appropriation connected to them for 2025.
So how much of the money that's remaining from that previously was COVID money is in the state grants fund, and how much is in the general?
Oh, I think it's all state grants fund now.
Okay.
The one that has, that's where it all went when it became revenue replacement. So it went to general fund and immediately then transferred to state grants.
There's none of the money in the general fund at all.
Okay.
So your question last night
Excuse
about.
me, can you please speak directly into the microphone? I'm getting text messages
Okay,
that
all right.
nobody can hear you.
It's like 2 inches from my mouth, so it's like, the point is, there's no ARPA money in the general fund. It went into the general fund. The general fund acted like a pass-through, and it was transferred to the state grant fund. So that money that's unspent is in the grant fund, all right? So it sits there, and the grant fund does not work the same way, budgeting purpose-wise, as the general fund. If you don't reappropriate each year for the general fund, the authorization to spend that money for whatever line item you're talking about goes away. So in the resolution that you guys passed in '24, you took the authorization away to spend money for those two programs. Part of the money was rolled over into the trash assistance program, because you increased it from $1 million in Act 5. Now it's $2 million. So some of that money was taken and reappropriated someplace else.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Keep going.
All right, Resolution 17 of 2024 was reappropriated $18,850,000 between 8 activities. $600,000 went into administration, which gives a total amount of $800,000. Affordable housing was still $8 million, so you reappropriated that money. Tree removal was kept in there at $500,000. Home repairs was maintained at $5 million. Trash assistance was increased to $2 million. Demolition of blighted property was kept at $1.5. Senior programming was kept at $250,000, and bridge housing was kept at $1 million. So you can see where those other programs that the appropriation or the authorization to put money into those programs no longer existed after you did Resolution 17.
So, go ahead.
So the difference between the 31.5 million and then the 17.4 million, would that be in the state grants fund? Like that extra money, that extra $14 million, or is in the state grants fund just 18.8? I think that's what Councilman Jones was trying
Well,
to ask.
I think what was transferred was about approximately $40 million. Some of that money has been spent, so there's no longer $40 million in the grant fund. And some of
I'm
those,
sorry, what did Mr. Solkowski say? I cannot hear him. I did not hear what he just said on how much money was transferred. I don't mean to cut anybody off, but I can't hear. And I know President Hill is saying move closer, but
what was transferred to the general fund was $40,721,932. The other $7 million was spent directly for example, the public safety building repairs was paid directly from, well, back in 2023 and 24. The radios for the fire department were paid for prior to this transfer to the general fund. So 40 million back in, I think, 2024 was transferred to the general fund. Some of that money has been spent down, okay, but not all of it. So I believe there's probably in the neighborhood of about $21 million that's not been spent down so far.
So I did see on one of the line items, speaking of the radios for fire, 900,000 was appropriated, 990 was spent. Where did the 90 come from?
I would say it came from these funds.
I mean, it was only 900 appropriated, so how did you spend 90? Where did the other 90?
You'd have to ask Chief Enterline that question.
And I will say, I don't know if it was from that or not, but in contracting for the city, there's usually a 10% variance on a contract.
Well, we didn't leave room for that.
Well, the question is therefore, is it otherwise in contracted services? A lot of the things you put into the city budget are contracted services. So I'm not saying it came from this money. I'm saying when there's a variance.
Did we find out where it came from?
Sure, there'll be an answer straight up, but I'm saying that, but there is a 10% variance so that you don't start all over again at the other end of a contract. So, and that's a
Well,
pretty.
and if that's the case, so these numbers should reflect that. Like I said, when he's putting 600,000, then it was revived, there's no number there, so we can't even, I mean, I know they see him on the next slide, but again, when you say what's appropriated to these categories, 900,000, and then there was 990 spent, we need to know where that money came from.
Sure, I mean, that'll be right there. It'll be in the thing. And what I don't know, frankly, is whether the 90 ended up in your following year's budget as it was being, I mean, there's a lot of places this stuff comes.
I mean, I'm just looking at what's being presented.
I got you. So.
Go ahead.
Okay. Continuing with Resolution 24 of 2024, reappropriated one activity by splitting it between two phases. That was the pole situation, and I explained to you a little bit earlier. There was originally $8 million in Bill 5, and you split between Phase 1 and Phase 2. $2 million for, I think that's for architectural or engineering work, plus the environmental study, which is
that study was about $60,000.
60 to 80,000, somewhere in that neighborhood. Yeah, it's currently being done and won't be finished until probably November of this year.
$2 million. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm just reporting what the legislation said. So, and
That was one of my questions too. Sorry, Mr. Sokowski. I know we've been waiting on the environmental studies and the architecture layout for quite some time, and the number came in roughly a little over 60. So, just trying to struggle on how we came up with the $2 million for that. The $2 million was already spent on that project so far.
No. So the $2 million is if you get to architectural, right?
Okay.
The first phase is the
Study.
environmental study to see whether it's worth paying anyone to do an architectural. If it comes back that you can't use that property, which I think we talked about when this was broken up, that money's not going anywhere. It's there appropriated for pools, but that professional services won't be incurred. You would see that contract if it came back, like an architect or engineer's contract, that would come back to you.
But a write-up on this, again, I'm reading what's being presented, and it's very confusing to me. Where it talks about the $60,000 being spent for the study, the environmental study, to see if we can even do anything with the pool, right? It doesn't say anything about anything else, but there was $2 million, again, appropriated to environmental study and what else you said, land?
No, architects and design, which is the big
Okay.
expense, that's
So
the
that's
big-
not spent yet.
because you wouldn't pay someone until you knew if environmentally you could do
Hear
it.
me out.
No,
Now,
just, we're on the same page.
these numbers aren't reflecting
So,
on here. So it's just like, these things are missing.
Because we haven't incurred that expense yet. And you're not going to.
You're marking everything. Okay, go ahead.
I'm just reporting what it's earmarked for.
I guess the
okay?
confusion is just the way you're presenting it as it was allocated already, so when we're hearing it,
Right.
we know like what the
Without
study.
reading.
Yeah.
I'm just saying the 2 million was split into phases. Phase 1, which is for the environmental study, which is going on now, which will be done by November. Then the balance of that 2 million will be used, hopefully, maybe not all of it, but we don't know that till we know for sure that we can build it. Because why would you incur the expense of it before you know whether you can actually do it? Okay.
I mean, we understand that. I'm just
Right.
looking at the bare numbers and what's being presented here.
Uh-huh.
That's what I'm asking about. I understand you. Why would you put the cart before the horse? You know, I get it. You know,
So all I said was the 2 million is, and what the 2 million is for, environmental, architectural, or engineering, okay?
so
Once you do
if
that.
60,000 was spent out of this 2 million,
doesn't
it's
reflect.
not reflecting.
Yeah, it doesn't reflect on
on
what
this.
we have. It doesn't show that.
That's all.
Okay. Is it reflected later? Okay, it's on the next slide. All right, so that's the breakdown. On the appropriations slide, this one here, see there, you can see $7,919,190 is remaining of the $8 million. So that reflects the environmental study.
Now let's go to the top, where 5.5 million was appropriated. The actual that was spent was 5.25, and there's no money remaining. Where's the rest of the money? And the next line too, 1.2 million, and then actual spent was 1.1, and then there's no money.
Well, I would categorize the appropriated as an estimate, and the actual is what it actually came back as. Because whenever you bid a contract, I mean, you might estimate something costing $20 million, but it may come in at $19,500,000. So when you do the project,
And it
that's
should
what
reflect.
But if it came in under the appropriated amount, there should be funds remaining.
So if you would have 200,000 left over and you did your project on the public safety building, what else would you do with it? So it should go back into the city coffers and used for something else.
Well, that's all we were asking.
Okay.
Where did the remaining balance go?
It stays with the city.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Excuse me,
Yes.
and you mentioned the money stays with the city, and is that money in the state grant fund then? Is that where it went back to, or?
Excuse me, before anybody continues talking, it's everyone listening, even Councilwoman Rawls, is having extreme difficulty hearing any and everything that's said. So if you can
I don't know what
please
else to
speak
do.
into the mic. I don't know what else to do either, but it's frustrating to sit here and go back and forth and people can't even hear what we're talking about. I'm getting frustrated because we are asked on a daily basis about these programs, about these funds, what happened. People are watching and would like to know. And I think I'd like to pause until something is done to ensure that those watching can hear, because it's pointless if they can't. It's
Well, those
wasting
watching,
everybody's time.
I have the microphone an inch from my mouth, so I can't, other than swallowing it, I don't know what else to do.
Well, your volume just went up, which I think someone just pushed a button. Madam President, did you want to take a recess to make sure the technical side works?
I'd like to make sure that yes,
Second.
Yes.
the microphones are working, please. Thank you. messages, so I'll let you know if they can't hear you. But go ahead, proceed, please.
I apologize, but I try to get as close to my mouth as possible. Okay, going to the appropriations. Administrative cost was appropriated. Actual spend is 800,000. Affordable housing, we have 8 million remaining. We'll come back to that. Tree removal, 500,000. That's been spent. Home repairs, 5 million was appropriated. Remaining is 3,889,000. Refuse, 2 million was appropriated, and what's remaining is 1,224,000. I think we just credited people's accounts Monday of this week of slightly over 8 million.
May I ask a question about that?
Sure, go ahead.
How were these individuals selected?
Well, they had to be delinquent as of August 30th. You want to talk about this a little bit more?
Yeah, I can talk about it. So effectively, they had to miss at least one payment during the COVID timeframe. So that was between 2020 and 2023.
Miss or make?
They had to miss a payment. So that they had missed a payment. They also had to make a payment during that same time frame to be qualified. Then we also took out any city employees or elected officials. And then to the best of our knowledge, we took out anyone that was a landlord or like a non-residential landlord. We took out organizations or anyone that was not like a resident property owner. And that was effectively how we came to the initial list from there.
So my question would be, I don't think you guys, your administration has given a response to what was reported from the Treasury, of how this money was going out the window. In some cases, people were upwards of $9,000 of forgiveness, where I think there was a number said of between 1,100 to 1,600. Is that accurate?
There was no limit given to what the delinquent amount would be. They had to be delinquent, and they had to at least make one payment within that 3-year period. If they did that, plus not being a landlord, then they qualified. There was no dollar amount ever set on who was getting any kind of assistance.
I think he was saying, are some residents being forgiven upwards to 9,000, not like a cap or a limit on?
There was no cap on it.
Right. What we were saying were some of the forgiveness payments upwards of $9,000, from 1,000 upwards to $9,000? Or is there a list perhaps you could share with council?
There is a list that we could share if you would like.
That would be
but
fantastic.
Effectively, I do not know the exact what was the minimum and the maximum, but from my knowledge, there was a couple that were under 1,000, and there were some that was upwards of 5,000 or 6,000, but I do not remember the exact maximum.
I wouldn't say it's egregious, but don't you think it would be pertinent for council to be able to review it as we're going through the motions today, just to rest assure everyone and we could actually see the live numbers? Because right now there's just a lot of fog and it's unclear. So we could say there was 8 million forgiveness, 2 million forgiveness, but how are we to actually know that these individuals were taken care of? How do we actually know that these dollars are being allocated towards that specifically? Besides just taking your word for it.
So there was an application that they went into the mail to them separately. They had to return that and sign it. Not shockingly, some people decided to share that application with people that weren't on the list. Those aren't getting it's being processed one by one. I think is it about a 50% return by now? About the numbers that went out, that's not the dollar amount, that's the number of people that got on the list. We worked around an awful lot to see what formula fit the $2 million, right? And knowing you'd still not get a full return, because that's not the way when you mail people things, they don't respond necessarily. If they never opened the envelope and it had a window of 15 days to respond, then you didn't open the envelope. You know, it was providing an opportunity to take people that seemed to have a good faith effort during COVID to make some payment and to resolution. Bottom line, at the other side, people just need to be realistic about what it is. This is a transfer of funds of money that was given to us by the federal government back to the city. That's
I'm not questioning that. We agreed to put and even up it another $1 million to do this for our residents. Right. In the manner it was being given out is the question. And you say 500 on this sheet, but I think the total was 541. So are these numbers correct?
how many people receive these applications, and then 50% of that, how many people return them?
So the people are still returning some applications, so this is ongoing. And part of the reason, like to the solicitor's point, that we didn't send it out to everybody yet is because we didn't want to cause confusion. But right now, so there's 541 people that were eligible. We took 5 people off the list because they were either elected officials or city employees. And then that left roughly about 536 that went out. About 48% roughly have been returned. So I don't remember the exact number, but it's somewhere around 250, 260 that have been returned.
So would those numbers reflect here? I'm just trying to watch how this is going out, and then if these numbers are adding up to what you're presenting to us in front of us.
Yeah, I mean, so what is presented right now, we have the delinquent refuse disposal bill assistance. These numbers were updated when we created the PowerPoint, but as I said, we are still receiving some back. So those numbers are not going to be 100% accurate at this current exact moment. We have received back just over $800,000 worth of forgiveness.
Okay.
I had a question. I was wondering what's being put in place to make sure that these delinquent bills, the people that we are going to be forgiving their trash bills, what's being put in place to make sure that they don't come into this same situation again? Because this is that one-time money. And I'm just wondering, that's a question a lot of residents had. How is this going to stop the continuance of the delinquent bills from these same individuals?
May I address that?
What was that?
May I address that?
Yeah.
So as you know, maybe 2.5 years ago, the council, with the request of the mayor, approved the extra position in the Law Bureau for a lien specialist. And there was a significant amount of trash bills. That's why we got a lien specialist. We had to triage how we approached it. So the way we triaged it, we started with accounts that were over 10,000 past due that were commercial, we started with. And then they got
Say that again?
accounts that were commercial that were more than 10,000 past due is what we started with that list. So we broke the list into different categories. So if you're a commercial account and more than 10,000, we started with that list. Under due process rights, you're entitled to a notice, so we issue a notice letter that we're going to lien your property. You then get a second letter if you didn't respond. And after that second letter, after about 60 days, you end up with a lien on your property for the full amount plus interest. And if you did respond, we will see.
That's for commercial trash.
No, that's where we started, right?
Okay.
And I don't have the full numbers in my head on how many accounts there were, but this is how we broke it down, how to manage the flow. We then took those that were over 10,000, and you could, instead of getting liens on your property, enter into a payment plan that usually range from 3 to 5 years at the most, where you're paying your current bill and a percentage, so at the end of it, you will be caught up. In those payment plans, which is the same method the city has used for probably 35 years, once you sign that agreement and pay on time, the penalty stops running as long as you're paying your current bill plus that. If you stop, all the penalties come back onto your bill. I mean, so that's.
Is there a resolution around this?
No, this was just a program that's been in place forever.
Okay. Yeah, I know. I get it. I'm just looking again at how it's being issued out, how they were selected, what you're explaining. It would have been nice to see this prior to getting to this, because, I mean, again.
So there are two different questions, right? You're asking how we got to where we got.
Absolutely.
I'm giving you a history of where these were. We completed everything that was over $10,000, and I forget what's the.
Well, I don't want to know how you got to where you got. I want to know how we're going to what did administration put in place so these same people aren't delinquent again.
I'm getting right there.
Okay, that's
where I'm going. So it's not being done without thought. So the next program was to do residential over 10,000, same process. Now with these ones, instead of waiting till there is a balance, what we had met with the mayor, people on forgiveness, if they go beyond 12 months now, which is about $400, we're going to be giving them that notice we would give someone that had been up at the $10,000. and say, you got your forgiveness, you're not paying your bill still, we're gonna send out this notice to you for a lien if you're not paying your bill. So that's where it changes from what the practice has been to how to take the other side of this forgiveness. You've gotten the benefit of this, and there's no more benefit to get in the future. So that's just a change in practice, of how we do it. And it's to basically say, you're not gonna get there. Now, part of this, I think you're all aware, we got here from when CRW and the city split apart, and there was no longer water to shut off for trash bills. We're not the only municipality that has that issue, and it is a challenge to get people to pay when you don't have that lever. But that is the mechanism that Commonwealth of Pennsylvania gives us in terms of the municipal lien process in order to put that lien in place. So we started on the big end. We're moving towards coming down low where it's going to be starting earlier for people.
So are you saying out of the 500 and 541, whatever applicants, some of those were actual businesses?
No, none of them are
You didn't
supposed to be
select
businesses.
them?
No, I'm saying the businesses were how the law bureau
How you started, okay. And then
on doing liens and how to start bringing this trash into account, right? And then we moved to the residential. Then this program came along. The difference of what we would do because this program came along is instead of going after the biggest ones, and working our way down, because you're in this program now, you're going to be on the list. So after 12 months of going where
meaning residents.
Yeah, the ones who aren't paying their bills, who got the forgiveness, now they're going to be on the list to get a lien much earlier, in order to bring, because they got the benefit of this. There's a total of about 18,000 city accounts for this.
Was that explained to them when this was given to them?
It will be explained to them. So
That was my question too. Did they know? Thank you for bringing it up, Councilman Jones. I was wondering, did the residents know when they got the application in the mail that if you sign this and we forgive it, but then if you get back into a delinquent bill at $500, $400 some dollars, this is what the next step's going to be because we've done this for you. Did they know that during the process of application? Was that in fine print?
it is not, and frankly, it doesn't matter, because right now, we have the right, the city, to lien every single person who doesn't pay their bills. We just don't have the capacity. So if you think you can go through life and not pay your bill and have no consequence, and the city let that happen for a while, that's on you. But don't expect that you got something for it and you can go back to what you were doing. So if you think we have to explain that, I frankly don't understand it. Because right now, every one of them could be liened. Everyone could be liened.
We understand. We understand. Go ahead, Councilwoman Rose.
I'm sorry. No, finish what you were going to say.
Yeah, we understand that you have the power to lien, shut down, do all of these things. But I'm going to tell you why I'm asking this question, because when these letters was giving out, residents came to me, is this a trap? And I was like, no, it's not a trap.
It is not a trap.
Can you hear me out? They asked me, was it a trap? And I was like, what do you mean? So what this sounds like now, again, and I read the letter, and it had none of this language that you're speaking of in it. I'm talking about forgiveness, and then we're going to do this if you don't. Because she asked a question, what is put in place to make sure that we as residents don't fall back into this particular situation of not being able to pay? And then you said, well, they're going to know. They didn't know when it went out. So I'm just asking because there were a lot of people that came and asked, was this a trap? And this sounds like almost a bait and switch.
How can it be? Because
because what you're saying you're going to do to them now that they took this, or what about everyone else?
So we're clear. What's going to happen is they will get, earlier than they would, a letter 60 days ahead of time and says, you are delinquent. Can you come in and bring your bill up to date? And if not, can you come into a payment plan and stop your penalties from running? We have, the 60 days is the initial notice, and sometimes it stretches out to sometimes 80, just depending on communications. If you're communicating with the city, it's not an automatic thing. If you're ignoring the city, that clock is 60 days, right? So you get a first one, and you get a second one at 30 days. And the effort is to get them to come in and start bringing their bill current. It's not an automatic, we're coming for you. But the difference is we're now communicating with them earlier.
But that's what it sounds like. That's what it sounds like.
I'm a litigator, so I'm saying, but it's what I started with. That's the process. You get a due process notice, And because the city let it go for so long over the years, you had to start a due process. It'll be, instead of letting it go for years, the city needs to get to the point, which way back when there was an operations and revenue office and it was automatic. Like just like if you don't show up for district court and there's an automatic notice for a warrant, the computer kicked out a letter automatically that you're this delinquent and you have this much notice to come in and get up to speed or you could be liened. That was an automatic mainframe thing 25 years ago. It went away as the system got
Changed up.
weary.
Yeah, again, I'm just asking these questions again. This is my duty, my job to ask what my constituents ask me and represent them in. So they're not here, so we have to do that. And again, we're not downing this program because obviously council put them, put this in a resolution to do this, and it makes sense. This revenue we do know will come back to the city, which is a good thing. Again, it's just about the administration and the process of how it's being done. That's it.
I understand.
I had one more question. Thank you for clarifying that. I'm glad there's something put in place just in case someone decides to be delinquent again. But I do wish that would have been part of the application. Understand what you're saying, solicitor over. I'm saying that you didn't have to put it in there, but that could have made people also be a little bit nervous to go delinquent again. I know if I would have seen, I'm not going to be delinquent on my trash bill, but if that would have been something I would have seen because I was, it might have made me make sure that I wasn't again. But I'm just glad that there's something.
We can't
hear you. You're a little muffled.
Just in case someone does go delinquent.
Councilwoman Rawls, you're muffled. We can't really hear you. She can't hear us.
Knew this program was happening. That was something they were concerned about. My second question though was for the, you hear me?
No, we couldn't hear the majority of what you just said. It was a little muffled.
Then I won't say anything because I don't know what to do.
Okay.
Am I still muffled?
No, you're better now. Did you want to ask your other question?
You can move past. No.
Okay.
President Hill?
Yes.
Okay.
I just want to
I'll
make
try
one point.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes, thank you. I just was wondering, there were two lines there were two lines with the delinquent, if I'm looking right, the replacement, the South Side Harrisburg pool. The actuals and the appropriate don't match the remaining, because it says 2 million appropriate, 2 million actual for the delinquent refuse and disposal bill assistance, but then remaining is 1.2 million. So and the same thing for the pool. So I'm just wondering what I'm missing math-wise.
I think she's on
And
slide
why
8.
it says that in the remaining if everything was used, or it's gonna be, I just don't understand that.
Did you want to answer? So I think she's talking about the slide 8, it looks like, the delinquent refuse and disposal bill assistance. I think you did answer that earlier when you mentioned that only 48% had been returned, so the total has not been exhausted. And then for the pool, you mentioned earlier that the appropriation for the earth study, 60,000.
Yeah, the remaining amount is the 8 million minus what we spend for the environmental study, which you said was like $60,000 or $80,000.
60.
Yeah, 60.
The one point I want to make earlier is there is a follow-up letter to be sent to those people that had their bills, assistance to those. So those letters have not gone out yet. So some of the things that you're talking about or asking about now would probably be in that letter.
So it's a letter to those that have returned the application, the 48%.
And it's been
to date.
applied.
That is correct.
Right. Okay.
Correct.
Are there any other questions related to the appropriation for the delinquent refuse and disposal bill assistance? Or can we move forward with this slide?
we can move forward.
Thank you. If you could please proceed.
Okay, the next one, if you go 2 slides, would be Bill 7 of 2022. That was where the money was appropriated for the public safety building, where 5.25 million was spent. So that gave us, of the 47 million that was originally appropriated, it left 41,822,665 in there. The next slide is where the police and fire bonuses. Frontline police officers and firefighters were given a one-time bonus for their unwavering commitment to serving the citizens of Harrisburg during the COVID-19 pandemic. And that total bonus has come out to $1,100,732.
Now, those 2 slides, again, where there's still money that is missing, and you said you will give us a copy of where that money is, right?
Correct.
All right.
Here's it. Okay, under administrative costs, that's where the 800,000 was appropriated. And so after that was spent, the remaining balance was 39,921,933. We had incurred expenses in the administration department, finance department, building and housing, public works, facilities, parks and recreation, codes, diversity and compliance, the fire department, and the police. And it was used to cover personnel hours, postage, supplies, general management to track funds, develop and implement programs, reporting, and auditing. So, okay, under the affordable housing, next slide, that's where the $8 million was appropriated. We, as of September 5th, we received 26 applications. We're this week and next week we will be spending time having our committee score those and see who's eligible and who's not eligible. That is going to take some time.
I was going to ask that. What was the timeline? Because this was a very quick turnaround. This seemed like it was rushed from August 11th to September 5th, and that was a short period of time for people to get their paperwork together. So, what do you think the timeline will be looking at these applications?
I would say it would probably take another week. We got a lot more applications than I was expecting personally.
I'm sure it's $8 million bucks.
Pardon me?
It's $8 million bucks, I'm sure.
Well, yeah, 3-week period for them to respond. So we had no problem with people responding. I mean, I made one slight mistake where I said we respond till 5 o'clock on Friday. I should have said 4 o'clock, not 5 o'clock. It's because everybody from the front office leaves at 4 o'clock, and so I had to go down and answer the front door myself. So not a big deal. So I would say I spoke with most of the committee today. They're going to be picking up their documents and their evaluation sheets tomorrow, and it's probably going to take maybe most of a week.
So there is a rubric, or is it okay if council can look at that?
Yeah.
Who are the members of the evaluation committee?
Doug Hill, Mr. Doug Hill. We asked Mr. West Majors, but he's going through a medical process. So we have another individual who we're going to reach out to tomorrow, Eric Jenkins.
Okay, thank you.
How many members? 3. So you only have 2 at the moment.
We're speaking to another individual tomorrow.
So will that hold up the process of these
Most
applications?
definitely not. No, most definitely
Getting evaluated?
Not. Most definitely not.
Yeah, I would definitely love to see a copy of that rubric, please.
The reality is also that it's a very tight eligibility. There's going to be very few of those 26 that are going to be able to hit that, just very few. And that was on purpose.
And so what happens with that remaining? Do we have a plan for that?
No, all the $8 million will go. No one's asking for $20,000, right? But I'm saying of the 26, you had to be already providing affordable housing and providing more in the city. I think everyone in this room knows that's a very small universe of people. That's just the reality of it.
All right.
Okay. Any other questions on the affordable housing? Okay.
No, thank you.
Tree removal program, so far progress we made, 105 trees have been removed, 31 trees pruned, and 8 stumps have been removed. We additionally will be purchasing an air burner unit to eliminate woody waste material. Currently waiting on EPA approval to move forward with the purchase. And as you know, EPA works slow.
The
So-
EPA. So I do have a question, and I see Public Works is here. Purchasing this and burning, is there anything else that we can do with this? I know we have a chipper. Am I correct? We don't have a chipper?
Hello, Cody
Wood
Legg, City
chipper?
Forester. Well, go ahead, what was the question?
Do we have a wood chipper?
We do, yes.
Okay, so what is the purpose of just burning this up and instead of using mulch and, grinding this up?
So we currently have a pretty massive backlog of wood chips that we just don't have a use for. The burner is not just for wood chips, but for larger woody material that also is currently backlogging our shops.
So the 500,000 would be for that purchase of this air burner, or this is what it costs for the trees to be removed?
The 500,000 is what was appropriated, and the burner itself is a third of that.
Do you have a cost for it? Is there a line item for what this is going to cost? How much is this going to cost?
I have a quote for the unit.
And it is?
It's around 200,000.
Wow. Okay.
So I don't have specific numbers, but I do have tonnage that was provided to me by Public Works for woody material that was delivered outside city limits. That's around 250 tons last year. Effectively, that tonnage would reduce to zero. We wouldn't have to ship woody waste outside of city limits and pay for it. I don't have those figures on how much we did pay for it, but that's also not including the woody material that park maintenance produces.
Just to give you current numbers on the tree removal pruning program, 500,000 was appropriated, 112,491 has been spent. Because I mentioned earlier, 105 trees have been removed, 31 been pruned, so the balance in there is 387,509.
That's the remaining balance, and a potential 200 to go out for an air burner.
Correct.
Okay.
187 to date, just as of today. No, 187.
All right, I guess the updated numbers, total money spent was 187,929 to date. Okay.
So are the numbers of trees removed, are all of those numbers still accurate, 105, 31, and 8? And if you could remind me, I thought there was a goal for the number of trees to be removed. There wasn't? Okay. Well, do you have a goal in mind, or are you?
Yeah, this is still preliminary to the other $2 million IRA grant. The goal was, I don't think we had a specific number of trees to be pruned or removed with this money, but we've definitely blown the water out of the number of trees we've gotten to in the past previous years. So 105 is quite a lot, and personally think.
Okay, thanks. I just wanted to clarify that.
This also includes the tornado that went through Bellevue. We took all the trees.
Mm-hmm.
All those trees aren't gone. I ride through that park. Them trees are laying in the reservoir park.
Those are the trees that were the residents said.
And
that
there's
they would
still some
take.
back
Those
behind
were the-
Bellevue.
Excuse me, can I talk?
Yes.
Okay. Those were the trees that the residents said that they would take down themselves and have their own private contractor come out.
These are trees that are in the park. Just for the public, these trees are still laying, and I'm sure you can see them as well. These trees are still laying in Reservoir Park. Yes.
So we did spend just under $11,000 on trees in Reservoir Park. There are a few currently still laying there that our staff is just going to do ourselves. I think particularly closer to the Civil War Museum up on the hill there. There's a couple more, but yeah, just under 11,000 was spent directly to.
Thank you for the clarification.
What's that? Oh, yeah. And
I wanted just to say, President Dow was correct. There was a goal for tree removal. It was 50 trees. We did we went over the goal, but I wanted to make sure that was clarified. She's correct. There was a goal. I had that written down in my notes.
Thank you.
And then I just had a quick question. I know you had said, I can't see who's talking, but I know you had mentioned you didn't know what to do with the mulch. Somebody from Public Works, I think, was just talking. And I was just wondering, did you all ever think maybe putting the mulch around the new trees that are being planted? I see a lot of those being planted and going up, and I think it would look very nice to put mulch around those. Or is there any way to offer mulch to residents who maybe can't afford mulch? I mean, just these type of ideas if we can't think of anything else to do with the extra mulch. So I was just wondering if those ideas came up, and I wanted to clarify what President Hill had said about the goal for the tree removal. Thank you.
okay, so for the mulch question, it's not recommended to use natural mulch in all situations. You certainly can for garden beds, but park maintenance does already have mulch available to us. So when we do plantings, that's what we do utilize, just because it is, more recommended for new tree plantings. It's definitely not out of the question if residents want wood chips. I don't see why they couldn't get that themselves, other than any sort of legal conflict there. But yeah, that's, I think's been done in the past. Oh yes.
Hello, my name is Sasha. I'm Deputy Director. We donate plenty of wood chips throughout the city of Harrisburg to gardens.
Good.
I think particularly like HRA gardens and
So
pollinator
about
gardens.
how much you said you have a tonnage of it?
Like we're currently stockpiling?
Yeah.
No, we don't have that.
Oh, no. We have about 2 tractor trailer loads of wood chips right now.
And
If anybody contacts us and they need some wood chips, we'll be able to deliver them.
And again, I'm just asking again because of the purchase of the burner, and we have something that helps make those wood chips.
No, so the burner is also going to help out water leaks. We pay right now.
There we go. There we go. Now come on now. See how we gonna use this thing.
So we pay, right now we pay Susquehanna Township for our leaf removal for our large wood. So like wood sticks, the bottom of the trees and stuff. We actually paid Ziegler Brothers to get rid of that. But Ziegler Brothers is going to be going out of business soon, so we won't have no avenue to get rid of this stuff. So the $200,000 burner is going to save us money and save us looking for a location to get rid of the trees.
Thank you for the clarification.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any
Yes,
other?
thank you for that explanation, answering that question. I'm sorry, President Hill, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're fine. Do you have any other questions regarding the tree removal program?
No, I do not. That was it. They explained it, I understand, and about the mulch, so I'm good. Thank you. And thank you, I heard Director Ross explain that residents could pick up the wood chips if they wanted to. I understand that they're natural now, so I do understand that. I just heard mulch, and so I was, assuming it was in the state of mulch that we put down. So I didn't fully understand, but now I do. But thank you for answering that question and clarifying.
You're welcome. Thank you.
A quick question about the tree removal program. How do we, segregate what our Public Works or Parks and Rec traditionally will go after for tree removal and the designations for the tree removal program? Are we incorporating those simultaneously?
Could you repeat the question?
Because
one more time?
traditionally, there's already a line item for tree removal throughout the city, but through the tree removal program, it would give us the means to do more. Are we segregating the initiative, or are we keeping that separate so we could show what the tree removal program is removing, as opposed to what traditionally we already remove?
No, those aren't being separated.
Right, so the question is, how are we indicating that for the public, for council, so we can determine, okay, that's specifically coming from the tree removal program, and that's ideally what we, ordinarily remove yearly within our budget?
Our operations manager keeps a tab of how many trees we remove. So
Okay.
emergency trees, trees that that's smaller that we can get to ourselves. So we want to utilize the money wisely because it's one time. So if it's a smaller tree that we can do, we take care of it.
But no, thank you for that, Director Ross. But I guess what I'm saying is, are we saying the tree removal program is a part of what we traditionally already utilize throughout the year annually with our traditional budget? Because there's always a line item for tree removal.
Yes.
So we're kind of incorporating the two.
Yes.
Okay, that was my question. Thank you.
Yes, so we can utilize the money that we have in the general, neighborhood services for something else that we need.
Thank you.
Yes, I have a question, it's okay. So I understand that the air burner is gonna drastically reduce our waste cost. But do the residents know that they can come to the city and get the wood chips?
A lot of our local gardens, I just got an email last week, and we're delivering 3 dump loads of it tomorrow. So a lot of our gardens, we deliver for the garden on Market Street. So a lot of our gardens, our local gardens know this, but no, today is, hey, if you need any wood chips for your garden, your personal gardens, come reach out to Parks and Recreation.
Is there any way we can make the residents know, advertise? Put
I can get a
note
flyer
in?
together.
I think it would be nice for the residents.
Okay. I add it to the website.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any final thoughts on the tree removal program? Okay, we can proceed. Thank you.
Okay, home repairs, you've appropriated $5 million for this. 38 homes have been completed, rehabilitation, 13 are in progress, 20 more have been approved and are waiting. Primarily the wait is due to limitations on the number of qualified contractors. 62 homes have been denied, largely due to either not meeting the program income requirements or incomplete applications. 86 homes are on the waiting list to be served, and there were a total of 220 applicants. So that gives us about $26,421,000 left in appropriations. So any questions on the home repairs?
Yes, and not to sound abrasive at all, but if 62 homes have been denied due to not meeting program income, would that mean they made too much or not enough? Because the only reason why I ask is if a resident was in that specific situation where they needed the help, shouldn't we have maybe some type of assist program where we can get them to where they would need to be instead of kind of just denying them? Or were they just over the guidelines, Ms. Gloria?
This is, when they submit their application, it is based on income.
Okay.
And so some of these persons that have made application exceed our income.
Okay, made too much.
And so another issue for us is that we are sharing contractors for 3 different home rehab programs.
Okay.
So it may seem like this is a slow process, but when we're sharing with lead now,
Yes.
because we have a 4-year grant awarded by HUD, and we have our HRP program. So the slow up is not that we're not trying to get these applications out. We are. We have reviewed them. We have identified the persons or the homeowners that qualify, but we need more contractors. And we are going to have a contractor meeting this month.
Thank you for that. I have a follow-up for you, if you don't mind. If they're in dire needs and they do qualify, but they're waiting just for something like a contractor, would they then be able to maybe take care of the cost if they could afford it and submit an invoice?
Well, if they qualify and they have an emergency need, like a roof, we put them at the top of the list.
Okay.
And deal with it right away.
Okay, so there is kind of a priority depending on
Correct,
the...
absolutely.
Okay.
And if they're senior citizens, they also get the top of the list.
Okay, and then just my final question. What is the process? How does that look? Let's say I'm a family at risk, I'm struggling, I meet that guideline as far as income medium. How does that look as far as the application process?
You would, can go online on our website, you can submit an application. You bring your application in. You can pick up an application in the office and fill it out, and then we go through the process
First come,
of
first serve?
qualifying.
First come,
Yes.
first serve? Okay.
Yeah, we have a numeric grading where it's first come, first serve.
So no one's getting turned away per se that meet every requirement. It's just when they are overseeing their income. Okay. Thank you.
Absolutely. You're welcome.
I have a question regarding this. Good evening. Are we following the same income guidelines as the federal program, or have we increased income guidelines to make for sure that we are meeting the needs of a different audience?
We are following federal guidelines.
I would just suggest, I know when we first were discussing the home repair program, back when we were creating this legislation, we wanted to make for sure that the income guidelines were increased some, so that we weren't just servicing the exact same population that already qualified for the federal funding. And really wanted to make for sure we could address that working poor that might be just over that income guideline for the federal government, since we had the ability to tailor this program, since it was now revenue recovery money, and we don't have to follow those guidelines. So I would think that that's something we could look into to make for sure that we are meeting the needs of people who don't qualify for any of these other funds because of their income, but they may have retired from a really good job, but they're still on a fixed income and can't afford to have a roof put on because, you know, it's leaking severely, or because their furnace went out. And they kind of always miss out on these programs because they're over income. I thought that when we created this program, we really wanted to focus on that audience as well, to make sure that they didn't continue to be forgot about.
No, when I came in, this program wasn't even created. So it wasn't until I came in that this program was created. And when the federal guidelines change, we change our guidelines.
Correct. The program was not created, but there was a discussion with the previous director on what the program could look like and what council would like for it to look like. And that included increasing the income guidelines, because this was not a federal program any longer. It was a city of Harrisburg program, and we had the ability to make those changes.
Well, that's something we can certainly look at when we reopen the program, but I have no idea what the previous director promised or was discussed, and nothing was left for me to make that determination. But it's certainly something that when we reopen the program again, we can look at that.
Thank you. I definitely would like to be part of that discussion. If you're available to look at what we can do to make for sure we're addressing some of those working poor people, or just people who are on fixed incomes and might need some major house repair. So thank you.
I'd be more than happy to have you at the table.
I have a question, Director Martin Roberts. Once the repairs are done, is there someone who goes out to the homes to inspect and make sure that what was spent is appropriate, and how can we or the public see a list of the monies that was spent and the repairs that were done?
We don't put the money in the hands of the homeowner. Program staff actually facilitates paying the contractors and subcontractors for services. We do have inspection. So when the program is completed, there's a walkthrough by staff with the homeowner to make sure that everything that needs to be done. And keep in mind, this program is to make homes code safe. They're not there to decorate somebody's house, to beautify their home. It's to make sure their homes are safe and they have healthy homes. So our staff go out and they look at all the work that's been done. We even have a form for the homeowner to sign to say whether or not they're satisfied with the work that's been done on their property.
Okay. And then the contractors, are they selected? How are they selected for the public to know?
That's a good question. We have a walkthrough. So when an application is approved and the homeowner is contacted, we have our contractors go out and do a walk through the house. and they bid on the job. And our staff then opens those bids and determine the best bid for the jobs that's been submitted.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
And I just have one follow-up.
Mm-hmm.
Are the images that we're looking at, it looks like a old cast iron stack getting replaced. Are the 4 images to the same home?
Ray, are they to the same home? Yeah.
So it looks like a pretty expensive repair for all the homeowners. They would know what something like that will cost. What is a cap? Is there a cap? What could it exceed, Madam Mayor? Or
28,000.
Okay, and that would be the limit. Okay, all right. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
One more question. I apologize. She's ready to hand the mic. As far as the contractors, whenever you need contractors, do you have contractors already set aside that the city uses, or is it?
Yeah, we have a
okay,
list of
you have
contractors.
ones that-
Because they
okay.
have to go through codes, they have to have their certification, they have to have insurance.
Yeah.
There's a whole litany of things that they have to qualify for before we can use them. So we do have a list of contractors. And as I said, this month, we're gonna have a contractors meeting because we're also trying to get new contractors in.
Against that.
Yeah, so we can expand our contractor list. I help facilitate moving these programs along a little faster.
That was my next question. Thank you for answering.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
Are there any final questions regarding the home repairs program? Okay.
Okay. Next page, I think we can skip. We talked about this pretty extensively. Unless anybody has any last questions on that. This is the refuse and disposal bill assistance. And the next slide is the Harrisburg pool. I think we talked about this one also, including breaking it down into phases. Any additional questions on that one? Okay. Next slide is the upgraded fire radio system. That's where the $990,000 was expended. So we'll get a clarification on your question on that from earlier in the meeting. This is the demolition of blighted property. It's set aside $1,500,000 for that. 10 sites have been demolished. $500,000 out of the $1.5 million was used to purchase required equipment to complete demolitions in-house more efficiently. So that has worked very well.
So question there. What, in-house, what would it cost the city in-house to knock down a property?
You're asking for the cost of?
Yeah, for in-house for us to knock down a
So it
property.
varies, if it's double party walls, if it's a difficult property, if you have to build a foundation wall. But on average, for in-house demos, including party walls, say 2 party walls, I'd say it's probably about 50 to 60,000, 50,000 maybe.
Interesting. Because we spent $1,500,000 went to equipment, which we needed. So we're saying we spent $100,000 per property for 10 properties. To equipment, then you got $1 million left out of $1.5 million. So $100,000 for 10 properties. Are you saying we spent $100,000 per property?
It was close to that, yes. The contractor ended up, the total cost, because things varied, whether we had to do a party wall or not, depending on what we saw once we took it down. But the total cost ended up being $945,000. So we did 2 extra party walls with that money, and we had to pay for an engineer for engineer's report on one of the party walls that the contractor had taken down.
Outside engineer, we didn't use ours?
No, not for this situation. It was very deteriorated.
Even if you say those numbers, they're still in that category. There's still about $7,200 left. If you go back to your slide.
Hello, yes, I'm John Watson, Operations
John.
Manager from Public Works. So the $7,200 left is an equipment. We purchased an excavator, a new excavator, and 2 high lifts that we use to demo the properties. The $7,200 was because of a discount given from from where we purchased the equipment from, because we traded in 2 old lifts instead of having them and incur the expense on fixing them. So the $7,200 is left. We will use that amount because we cannot take dusty debris to the incinerator. So we're using that money to create a misting device or something to be able to water down the demolished material. So when we take it to the incinerator, we don't get flagged, because if it is dusty, they will refuse our load, or we can get fined from, from the incinerator.
Thank you for explaining. But again, these numbers just don't equal up. If we're saying we took down 10 properties and now we bought some equipment, we already spent $500,000 for that. There was some extra money for double walls. Now we bought some more equipment, you're saying?
So we didn't purchase it yet. It is in the making of being purchased now, the
So
thing for the in-house.
And I appreciate that, but again, these numbers just don't reflect what's here. What you guys are saying on this slides, the math just isn't, it's not mathing.
So yes, this is the list that we have. These are the 10 properties that is broken down, and the cost of each one. And yes, it will cost an outside contractor more money than it will in-house, because we do it at cost. We would do it per hourly wage and stuff like that. So the contractors, of course, will have, a cost associated with the contractor versus in-house. So this is why.
So I think this would have been appropriate, again, to be in the slides so we can actually see what's happening.
I do apologize
I'm looking
for that.
at it, but I would love for the public to see it. So I don't know how we can do that. If you can publish this somewhere, your communications or
Yes.
something.
Yeah, we would get that to you right away.
Oh, I could have passed it down to my colleagues too, so they can see. I apologize.
Councilman Jones, so when we do bid outs for the demolition, usually the cost of those are much higher than the in-house. Usually that runs from 85 and up.
Again, thank you for the explanation. It's just the numbers, it just didn't make sense. When we say 10 properties, and then you got money left over. So I'm like $100,000 per property. That's why I started out asking how much would it cost us in-house to knock down a property. Now, 50,000, 60,000, we still got another 40 that's out there. So I just wanted to make this make sense, not only to me, again, for the public, and hopefully we can get this information so they can see the breakdown.
Sure. And it was 10 that the demo bundle was taken down, and then the in-house, they've taken down 17 so far this year.
That's a great job.
Yeah.
Again, just looking at the numbers.
No.
Yes, our cost for in-house demo is coming from our public works budget. This is what we use to tear down.
That's what,
properties. That's not these funds. We use our neighborhood services demo and clearing budget to take down in-house.
So
This million was for those 10 properties that was sent out for bid.
So
we
we
use 500,000 for equipment so that we can double or do more in-house demos.
Okay, so these were subbed out and we didn't do it ourselves, is what you're
These
saying?
10, right.
So
Yeah,
these numbers that you just gave us
were bid out
from this million that we're
from
talking
this million,
about.
yes.
Okay, why didn't we do it in-house if it had been much cheaper?
Yeah, we did 17 properties in-house. So this was associated so that we can do more demolitions. We are currently working nonstop. And I'm gonna say 17, but I go by halves too. So we're 17 and a half because they'll be done with another one in a week. So we're almost essentially at 18, which is, we did 17 all of last year.
That's fine.
So the reason why we purchased this excavator and the 2 high lifts is so we can up the number of in-house.
Got you. Just looking at this stuff, it just looks like I gotta ask these questions. It doesn't.
Absolutely,
You know.
no problem.
So the
Thank you.
17 was us at full capacity, giving
Full
it all we
capacity.
got.
Yes, our four employees that we're rotating, Dave West created a rotating demo, so, which was he asked for another employee in last year's budget for the demolition department. This is what's creating, this is the benefit of that, the reason why we are now in September at 17, and the total for all of last year was 17. So we still got a few months left.
Thank you.
We're gonna break the record.
That was similar to like my question with the tree removal program. I just wanted to know what we were doing besides the actual allocation for the program through the ARPA funds. Mr. John, is that including like the tilling fees afterwards, or is that separate?
Yes, that's including
Okay.
everything. Tilling
Okay.
fees, that will be you mean for the in-house?
Yes, yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
And the hourly wages and everything. That's,
Okay. And that also reflects like the tilling fees as well, the 80,000, the 1 point for the 10, the other 10.
So those 10 are for the demo bundle.
Okay.
So yes, that would include whatever the contractor, I'm assuming, bid, that's what they.
Knock out and
that's-
get out of there.
yes,
Okay, okay.
yes.
All right, thank you.
I have a question for Ms. Montgomery regarding the goal number of sites to be demolished. I know there was like a red category, a high priority category. Was there a goal in mind for the number of sites?
For the in-house demos or for the demo bundle?
For the demo bundle?
So there was, you're asking for the total number that we were looking for?
Yes, was there a goal? I thought there was, based on the priority of the different colors that you showed before.
Yeah, it
but I
was a
just
goal
couldn't
of
remember.
10.
A goal of 10, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Are there any other questions regarding the demolition of blighted properties? Okay.
Okay, next slide. Senior programming, an application process is being developed to award the programming funds to an appropriate senior housing and programming institution. The administration has updated Councilors Rodriguez, Rawls, and Green separately about the timeline and are moving forward with said timeline and plan.
Was everyone privy to the timeline and plan, or what information was shared?
They are still in the midst of trying to make sure.
Yes, sir. How are you? Ooh, you look like you was out there balling.
Oh, okay. Please mute your.
Cause you get all sweaty?
Mute your.
Okay.
There we go. Excuse me.
Anyway.
Senior programming.
Mr. Rodriguez, I'm sure you're aware of, you're going to meet with my administration to finalize this project, so you may want to give an update on what we're doing.
Yeah, so what I was privy to in a previous meeting with Madam Mayor and Councilwoman Rawls, we agreed to come up with a program where there'll be metrics where senior entities that are qualifying can apply, as opposed to just designating where the 250 can go to, making it a fair process.
So making it what we were asking for
Yes.
all along,
Yes.
an application process. And if there's only one applicant, so be it. At least it was a transparent process, and other entities had an opportunity to apply for the funding.
Just to be completely transparent, we actually had that conversation where we weren't comfortable just delegating it or designating those funds to one center, actually giving many opportunities, and Madam Mayor was actually open to it in that meeting.
Okay.
Yep.
But also to make sure that they are certified and clarify that that they are providing those services.
And one of the questions that Councilwoman Rawls and myself asked was, would we be able to see if they were maybe having a history of irresponsible spending,
Right.
if we could see how those expenditures are going out so we can hold
Okay.
them accountable.
Okay.
That was discussed.
So previous expenditures?
Well,
or-
moving forward.
Okay.
Moving forward, yep.
Okay.
If they were to be awarded.
Okay.
Yep.
Any questions related to the senior programming?
Can everybody hear me good?
Yes.
Okay, I was just gonna add on to what Councilman Rodriguez said. And if he said it already, I'm sorry, because the sound was going in and out. But we also spoke with administration and Mayor Williams about, I think it was about like not just giving them all the, whoever does get rewarded some money, not giving it to them all at once, but making them submit itemized bills to be reimbursed in a way, or being able to show exactly what they're spending the money on. So I just wanted to add to what Councilman Rodriguez said about what we discussed. Everything else he said was totally correct on what we discussed in the meeting. I was just adding that in. If he already said it, I'm sorry.
No, he didn't. Well, he did, but not that the bill submission would occur. So thank you for clarifying.
You're welcome.
Okay. Next slide. Bridge Housing Program, the funds have been awarded and delivered to Christian Churches United and Downtown Daily Bread. Each were awarded $500,000 over 2 installments. And the second and last payments of the $250,000 each are going out later this month.
Thank you. Any questions related to the Bridge Housing Program? Okay.
Okay, revenue replacement, a total of $12,681,933 was designated as revenue replacement and transferred to the general fund between 2 bills. And they were Bill 7 of 2022, which $8,863,000 was appropriated and transferred. And under Bill 24 of 2024, $3,818,933 was appropriated and transferred, which totaled $12,681,933. Any questions on that?
Any questions regarding revenue replacement?
Just for my edification, I could be totally off, because initially we spoke about the 8 million revenue replacement, 5 million for the HVAC, 1.2 for the police raises, then the 31.5 for everything listed. Wouldn't the additional, well, the 12,681 actually take us over 47 million? Because I know just with the 30,
so on that slide, the additional 3.8 million was actually what was left over and not appropriated into any other specific program between Resolution 17 and Resolution 24 of 2024. So the total amount between all of the bills and resolutions that went to revenue replacement is that 12.6 million. And that's throughout all the slides, the numbers at the bottom there are basically taking us from the 47 million that we were allocated down to the 0. So that's just showing that between 2 different pieces of legislation, that's where the revenue replacement went. And that's only things that were specifically slated as revenue replacement, not part of these programs or the HVAC project or the one-time bonuses.
Right. It's specifically exactly what I'm saying. So with these programs, it would be 31.5, correct? The programs.
So technically, the revenue replacement's the 31 million, right? This is the money that ended up in the general fund as opposed to the state grants fund.
Okay.
So when the council listed in Bill 5 all the programs, and the mayor came back in 2024, there was still the $3 million in change that wasn't listed. You moved all of it into revenue replacement. And since there was no program to go with it, it became general fund money, just like the original 8 million and change became general fund money. Okay. So that's where you get to the 12 million. But for U.S. Treasury purposes, it's the 31 million that was moved over.
Okay, the 31.5.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Any other questions related to revenue replacement? Okay.
Okay, additional programs. Those are the 4 programs we talked about earlier. The $1.5 million for the ADA accessible playgrounds, workforce development, $1 million, Community Matters Grant, $1 million, Community Connections Hubs, $500,000. These funds were never reappropriated after Bill 5 and were not utilized. The total amounts were reallocated in Resolution 17, 2024 towards an increase in the trash bill assistance program and revenue replacement.
So you're saying these are the ones that disappeared, right? Kind of, so the words you use, right? These are the programs because of the non-reallocation.
The
Reappropriation, I
authority,
apologize.
The appropriation authority was removed by council, and it was never put back in.
So this is, again, I'm just asking a question. This is why these are the programs you're referring to that were no longer there because of what council did.
Right.
Okay, that's what I'm asking. So I would offer the administration, you know, on workforce development, I think, and I know you have a slide down here at the bottom, but I do have some recommendations that I was looking at that could help with our local businesses, with some of our residents starting new businesses that we can help them. And I'll just run a few ideas and see if something that you would be willing to look at as far as workforce development,
Hold on 1 second.
That's the next slide.
Any other questions regarding this slide? I don't want to lose if anybody wasn't clear on the action we took.
Okay.
Okay, next slide, workforce development, please.
Okay. Program goals, career readiness, financial literacy, mentorship, pathways to employment. So we actually have done a little bit on workforce development. One thing council did, and we just did this earlier this year.
75,000.
Was the 75,000 for TLC work-based training, as for the apprenticeship program to sponsor 5 apprentices, and that's funding for 2025-26. That was appropriated through Resolution 37, 2025. Additionally, the Solicitor's Office and the Mayor's Office and the Business Administrator's Office have utilized several interns over the past 5 years with the intention of building the program out for future years. So I have talked to other departments about potentially doing internships. I think we can use that kind of program for recruiting future employees of the city. Worked very well for our offices this summer.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Okay. So did you want to talk about Dina and her efforts a little bit?
No, she wanted to talk herself. She's going to have a meeting and they can also be involved. Deanna will be working with council. She's going to have a Harrisburg opportunities for professional experience, and she wants to make sure that you understand what she's going to do with the workforce development. She's not here presently, but
I know who Deanna is, but maybe other people listening might not know who she is.
Okay, Deanna is, well, she, at this point, we call her the interim right now, interim director in Carl Sigington's job, but we're looking at working with the solicitor to re-identify what position, what title she will have.
Okay, thank you.
So again, I would just offer a couple things that maybe either you or her BA, somebody could look at, just some of the things that I think, especially when we're in a time of talking about revitalizing our city, I think looking at, and a lot of the times, some of our local businesses have been the backbone to drive our economy locally. And I think if we could put some dollars there, it would help. And I'm just like, some local technical assistance for businesses, scale your business grants, even for Broad Street Market, an initiative to bring new businesses there, to give them some type of initiative. We have to attract people back to the city. So I'm saying these are just some of the ideas that I offer that hopefully that you guys are willing to look at and work through. I think it would be beneficial for all parties.
And she's already working on that. And she's going to have a report for you. She's not here tonight, but she will have a report for you. She's already done that. She has a full-fledged report.
Yeah, I would wait to see it.
You'll see it when you get it. Don't say you wait to see it.
I can say I can wait to see it. I will wait to see it.
Well, she's doing it. I'm telling you that she's doing it. We don't need that.
Okay,
All you can
I
say
know.
is I'll be prepared when she sees it. I have questions.
That's all I said.
Concerns,
I'll wait
or you
to
want
see
to
it.
add any additional
I
things?
said I'm
then
waiting
you'll
to see it.
But you don't have to repeat. You don't have to respond like that.
You're responding aggressively. I'm not yelling at you. I did not raise my voice. I'm offering a suggestion.
Thank you. Thank you for your suggestions. We will receive the information and we can go from there. But thank you for your recommendations, Councilman Jones.
Madam President, if I may, Madam Mayor, I would love to see if we had a workshop with Public Works right here in this room, maybe 6 months or so ago, about some workforce development opportunities as far by way of like trying to curb recidivism. And I'd love to set up a meeting perhaps with you and the solicitor to see if it's something you'd be interested in doing, and maybe ask Mr. John and Mr. West on it, just a way that we could continue cleaning up the city by way of Public Works, but also engage those returning maybe from small stints in prison or just returning, trying to make the best of their lives. It might be a bit confusing, but I'd love to see if we could collaborate a meeting by way of Mr. Truesdale to see if we could, work together on an initiative like that. Thank you. Okay.
Deanna has already contacted about 20, 25 different agencies and also different organizations that she's going to bring into the city. And that's one thing she's working on is workplace development.
Well, it might be something
Workforce
just
development. I'm
completely
sorry.
different, but if you didn't mind, I'd love to bring the opportunity
Sure.
and the idea to you.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'll mention that to her.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I don't know if there are any other burning questions. I think we asked many throughout the presentation, but I will ask my colleagues one last time. Are there any other questions related to the presentation that was shared?
No, not another question, but would Solicitor Grover, would the best way to be to coordinate that is have work through Mr. Truesdale so we can get all parties involved in that conversation?
If Mr. Truesdale contacted Tiffany West with the mayor's schedule, that'd be the best way, because when the mayor tells me we're having a meeting, we're having a meeting.
Perfect.
So,
Just wanted to try to get ahead of it. Thank you all.
Thank you. Any other final questions? Okay, anything else from the administration?
No, I appreciate the opportunity to be here. Wish we didn't have that initial technical issue with the microphone. I think this may have worked a little bit better because we had to pass around the microphone to everybody. So it worked well from that perspective. So we just appreciate the opportunity to speak and appear before you.
Thank you for the information. As I stated earlier, it's something that we've been hearing and asking, receiving questions on a daily basis about. So it was nice to see and hear from you and the directors regarding the status of the funds.
and just for the public, for the clarity of it, because the money, the 31 million and change was put into revenue replacement, the deadline for the expenditure of the federal money, it's considered expended already because it went into revenue replacement. So that 2026 deadline is gone, it doesn't exist. So it gives the council and the mayor the ability to think about, with those resources that are left, how to use it as the 2026 budget comes in. But that deadline is not over us anymore. We have satisfied the U.S. Department of Treasury. We've made the reports to them of our expenditures, and we have fully spent what they have given us in compliance with their requirements.
Thank you. At this time, I will open the floor for public comment. Just a few housekeeping notes before we begin. Please state your name and your address for the meeting record. If you don't feel comfortable sharing your address, please share the vicinity in which you live within the city. You will have 4 minutes to share your comments. Mr. Truesdale will serve as our timekeeper. He has projected a timer on the screen for your reference. I'll begin to my right. Is there anyone that would like to offer public comment?
Good evening, City Council President and City Council members. I came here for clarity, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm more confused than I was when I came here. I don't understand how this money was allocated in July, if I'm correct, of 2023, the $8 million for the affordable housing. And it's over 2 years later, and we still don't even have a plan. The plan is to give people, developers, the money with a plan. It took 2 years to come up with a plan to give developers money. I don't understand that. And it's just, you could see that the administration is so unorganized and incompetent. To spend $1.5 million to tear down houses when some of those houses probably could have been repaired. I don't know how they selected which houses should have been tore down or not, but I had an affordable housing plan. That $1.5 million and the $8 million would have made $9.5 million, and it could have been coupled with government, state and federal government funds. It could have been coupled with those to have even more money towards affordable housing. It just seems ridiculous to me that the mayor's push was for affordable housing, but we're 4 years into them having the money, and the money's not even spent yet. But they had no problem spending the first third of the money, giving it back to the city, whether it's revenue replacement, which I understand that, but I don't understand how police officers got a raise before the citizens got any of the money. The public safety building gets almost $6 million in upgrades before the people got any money. I just think that's ridiculous. It's very ridiculous. especially considering after the raise, we had some of the highest crime and murder rates in our city's history after the police officers got a raise. Well, not a raise, but a bonus, a 2% bonus or whatever it was, $5,000. I knew she was gonna walk out of here, but I watched the mayor sit in front of the TV screen. I was watching the debate, and she mentioned that she wasn't giving businesses $10,000 more dollars, but that was allocated in the original plan. And there was no money for workforce development, nothing for youth training, nothing that would give people skills to make more money. Just a bunch of nonsense, playgrounds, trees, pools. $8 million for a pool. Like, that's almost the equivalent to the same amount as for affordable housing. I'm not gonna say a pool's not needed, but I think housing is needed way more. They should have came up with a better housing plan. I don't see any plan. I still haven't seen it. I've created several plans in these 3 years. I haven't seen one besides, we have $8 million, give us a plan, and we'll give you the money. And then we'll narrow it down specifically to the people that we already been giving money to for the past 3 or 4 years during her administration. It's just all upsetting, and I'm done for now. I'll see y'all next meeting. Thanks.
Thank you. Is there anyone else to my right that would like to offer public comment? Seeing and hearing no one. Anyone in the middle section?
Make sure we get so all the people out there can hear us. My name's Mark Santana. I live on the 200 block of Liberty Street, and I came here for one reason, for transparency and accuracy, and I don't think that was presented tonight. I appreciate what the assistant business administrator done. I know that's not an easy job, but I've been an accountant for 20 years, and I'm sitting here trying to figure out actually what's happening. And I think we should make these numbers in a way that can be presented to the common people. This isn't city council's money. It's not the mayor's money. It's the people's money. And if you're going to spend the people's money, I think you should have the courage to tell people how you're spending it. So, and many of you, maybe you people have seen my name on the right to know request. Maybe I'm not asking the right questions, but it should be as simple as, this is the money that council appropriated. This is the money that's been spent. This is the money that's left from the appropriation. If the resolutions had fallen off because they weren't reappropriated in the current year, then that should create a surplus. What's that surplus amount? If those programs have been canceled, then what can we put that money towards? The money is sitting in the state grants fund. It's not out here in the city helping us. I don't know what's going on between council and the mayor, and I don't really care. You guys need to figure that out. I would say take it up a higher level and say that the administration, city council, the treasurer's office, and the controller's office should be putting this out for transparency on the city's website. I know we don't like to be compared to Lancaster, but that's what Lancaster is doing. And I think it says everyone's waiting so they can take shots at the city of Harrisburg. So let's create some good headlines instead of some poor headlines, because we have a problem here. The city of Harrisburg's in crisis. All that money that you're using for revenue replacement, we're heading off a cliff. That money is going to dry up, and there's going to be no more revenue replacement. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the middle section that would like to offer public comment?
Good evening, council members. My name is Libby Prophet, and I reside at 2025 Chestnut Street in Harrisburg. There's a few things, I hate to repeat anything that he just said. I am in total agreement with the last resident that spoke. The transparency, there's none. And the solicitor even made a statement that, they can lien properties, but it's not even put in the application process. That alone is illegal. to lure people in using federal grants with the intention, knowingly, that they can go back and reap, secondly, the same amount of money, if not more, that the federal grant already covered. He said that. That is fraud. Now, I need not let the solicitor know about racketeering, anything to do with RICO, corrupt organized crime. But if you do not see the citizen of this city as stakeholders, educated and well aware that the fox is guarding the hen house, then you have already failed. Transparency is needed. Breakdowns. This was allocated. This was used. Where did the rest go? 1. 2, we're using general funds from taxpayer direct payment. But yet, we're also using grants. So we, are we paying wages to Park and Rec and such from grants? What are the breakdowns? $8 million for a pool? Seriously. Was that a skyrise and a pool? I don't know how to express myself as to the disgust of that report, but if they think for one moment that we are asleep and we do not know our constitutional right, the state says, yeah, you can put liens on property for certain things, but the Constitution, the Fifth Amendment, and all the other things that govern this nation, we are fully aware. And we will hold the individuals, regardless if they've been here for 40 years or not, we will hold them accountable for every cent that our people paid and they have mismanaged. I guarantee you, someone in this room is going to face federal charges for mismanagement of federal funds. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the middle section that would like to offer public comment? Seeing and hearing no one, anyone to my left? Seeing and hearing no one. I would like to note that the PowerPoint presentation that was shared, along with the quarterly reports that we receive from the department directors, are available on e-codes on the city's website for your review, along with the mid-year budget report that was presented last night. The time is 7:28 p.m. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. We stand adjourned.